Now, the first time I put the heating on for a long time was also the day that energy bills jumped up by 10%. That's not a coincidence, is it? We know our bills get more expensive when things get colder, and the energy price cap increase of just under 10%, which took place on the 1st of October this year, does mean we're all going to be spending more on our bills if we stay on the price cap. Now, years ago, before all the upheaval we've had over the last 4 years, first with the pandemic, then the war in Ukraine, and now stuff in the Middle East, which has increased the prices way above what we're used to actually be used to paying. The practice of switching and fixing was really common. And I would tell people to do this all the time and save themselves potentially hundreds of pounds every year by getting on a lower priced fixed deal rather than staying on that standard variable rate, which was limited by the price cap. Obviously, that went out of the window over the last 4 years. In fact, most fixes during that period have been way above the price cap. So the best thing that everyone could have done was stay on this limited price and pay no more than that. But things have changed recently. And with this latest increase to our bills, I think it's really important maybe to go over some of this stuff that we may have forgotten, not just you, but myself as well. I've been slightly caught out on this, including those of you who might already have been on a fix from earlier this year when these lower prices started to come through. So I thought it'd be good just to sort of take you through, remind you what some of the things you might want to do and how to make sure you are getting the best price on your gas and electricity. First thing, don't assume that the price cap is the best price. As I said, we've been used to this for a long time, but there are now starting to be different kind of tariffs which track the price cap at a little bit below, so you'll definitely save money with one of those, but also ones which maybe where the energy prices change on quite a frequent basis have come in, so they could actually bring your price down, as well as some fixes. So now, don't just assume on the price cap, I won't pay any more. It's definitely worth seeing if you can get yourself onto a lower rate. And the way to do that is, do you remember these things? The comparison sites, they were, all I would say to do with energy was always go to comparison site, and then they kind of stopped working because there weren't any tariffs to compare. But they are back, still in a limited capacity, but they are still back. So make sure you go onto one of those. Don't just go to your current provider and they've got a fix and take it. Have a look and see if by moving to somebody else, you can get a better deal. In fact, sometimes they'll even show you deals with your current provider, which you don't see on their websites. So it's really worth going through one of these. And what you want to look for here is something called whole of market. That basically means they don't prioritize the ones that pay them. And sometimes they won't even show ones that don't pay them. Sometimes they hide them. So make sure you are seeing every single provider. You might have to click a box to see those, and they might not let you click through. You might have to then go through to them and apply directly. But make sure you use a comparison site and have a look at those. And I said that, we all haven't got out of the habit of using these and forgotten how to do them. I actually fixed back in May, and I thought, well, I'm on a fix right now. And I fixed then when the price cap was just going down again. So my price should have been even lower. So I'm like, well, great, right? I'm on a low price then, lower than what the price cap is now. Fantastic, I'll stick with that. But what's happened actually in that time, other lower fixes have come in since then. Potentially, if I'd done this a few months ago and gone on a comparison site and had a look, I might actually have found other savings available to me as well by moving earlier on. Now, something you have to obviously watch out for here is, does your existing tariff have an exit fee? The one that I chose didn't have an exit fee. And in fact, the one that I've just switched to, again, halfway through my fix, is with the same provider. Didn't have an exit fee anyway, but even if I wanted to move someone else, I didn't do that. But it's really important just doing that. If you want a price cap right now, or even if you want to fix, just see what the savings could be. You do have to be slightly careful because it could be a little bit complicated here if you are halfway through a fix, because the projection you'll see from most comparison sites will be the time you've got right now on the price you're paying for your fix, plus how much after that on what the price cap currently is. And it could well be that if your current fix is way lower than where the price cap is, potential for that, it's doing a bit of both, and you might not got a true projection. So to be really careful there, but again, do have a look and see if your price comparison site for your energy will bring the prices down. You do have to remember as well, though, when you look at these things, when these price comparison sites come up, they'll give you an annual price. They say you will pay this much, you will save this much. Now, whether that's a fixed deal or whether it's the price cap figures that are sort of bandied around, remember these aren't the maximum that you will pay on your bill. This is the maximum that the individual unit charges and the standing charge can be priced at. If you use more energy than what's in that price comparison calculator, hopefully you've put in your figures from last year to get that accurate prediction, accurate forecast. But if you use more, your bill will be higher. Conversely, if you use less than you put into the comparison site, then your bill will be lower. But again, these prices you see, your bill can change, go up, we can go down. It's unlikely to be exactly the same because your energy usage is unlikely to be exactly the same as well. Now, one of the things when we used to look at these price comparison sites was there used to be so many different energy providers and so many of them, and you used to be a little bit scared about some of those smaller ones, even though they were cheaper, and leaving the big guys. Well, obviously, I didn't have a problem with that before, and I think most people was absolutely fine. But when we had that energy crisis initially, who went under? A lot of those smaller ones went bust. Even some of the big ones like Bulb went under as well. So when you're looking at these now, you might be tempted just to stick to the big names that you know. And there will be far, far fewer names listed anyway. But don't rule out some of the others. Do just have a look at them. They might be fine. There's much more regulation in place now to stop those companies going under. But do have a look at them. But don't also ignore customer service. I think price is one thing, but customer service can also, if a problem comes up at any time, having a good contact center or whatever it might be could be much, much more important than saving yourself 10, 15 quid versus another one. So look at all the different companies, but also make sure, big or small, they're not that dodgy. Now, cashback used to be a big thing as well when you're using comparison sites. And I actually thought that had disappeared completely. But when I did have a look and actually did this additional switch for myself this week, Quidco does have cashback again for comparing, either directly through them or by going through to some of the likes of Uswitch and things like that. So it's worth having a look if you can save a little bit more. Now, because I switched with my existing provider, I didn't get any cashback. But if I moved to someone else, that could have been an extra sort of 30 or 40 quid on top, which would have been really welcome. But also more and more now, we are seeing some of these energy providers give extras. Now, I'm not saying, it's the same when I talk about mobile phone contracts or broadband, whoever it might be. I would never say go for someone just because of the freebie. So don't go for O2 just for O2 priority, things like that. But if a price is pretty comparable between a couple of providers, then absolutely it might be worth going for one which does give you some freebies. And Octopus has introduced Octo Plus. It's a tongue twister, that one, right? But that has things like free cinema tickets, free coffees, and other kind of deals and stuff, which is quite a good little extra to have if you're thinking choosing between one or the other. But again, don't let it dictate the one you want to go for if the prices are substantially different. I mentioned exit fees before. This is something else. Do take into account when you are looking at these different offers. If the prices are pretty similar, I would always go for one with no exit fees because that gives you that ability to move midway through a tariff if you wish. But otherwise, an exit fee could be 50 quid. Probably not too bad if prices change. Paying that to save more than that wouldn't be too bad. An exit fee of 100 quid, which some of them are levying right now, I think it's very unlikely you're going to be, during the duration of your fix, you're going to see prices go below that. So if you're with them, you're probably with them. So it's up to you how much you want to have that flexibility and how much difference the prices might be. Now, once you have fixed, again, these things you might have forgotten about, okay? Make sure you make a note of when that fix ends. Because if you don't, when it finishes, you'll move on to the price cap rate, whatever that is. Now, that price cap rate at that point might still be the best price for you and not necessarily a bad thing moving on to it. But if you make a note for when the fix ends, in fact, make a note for 7 weeks before the fix ends, you can start looking for another deal. And that 7 weeks is really important because it's 49 days. You can leave anything, even with exit penalties, you can leave any of these tariffs fee-free 7 weeks before. So you can have a look, find a new one, switch will take about 5 days to a different company, and you won't get charged, but you're onto that lower rate straight away. So it's really, really important to know that you've got that 7 week window before it ends. And that's when you should put a date in to make sure you start looking again and doing another comparison. And then kind of another few things here, which you might think, we know this, Andy, we haven't forgotten all this, but I promise you, it's been so long since I did this. I was reminding myself on things, but some really simple things that could have been overlooked is to make sure you give a meter reading, not just, when the new price cap came in on the 1st of October, but give a meter reading if you do change tariff or supplier, because that means you're guaranteed that you are paying the lower, cheaper rate at the right moment. And if you have moved to a different provider, when they send you that final bill, make sure you have a look at it and make sure you check to see if you are owed any credit. Because it could well be, particularly where we are right now, we're paying a lot of money in the summer and a lot more than actual energy bills would cost in the summer, the way the direct debits are split over 12 months, because we're going to start using more over the next 6 months, from October to April, which means you would have built up quite a healthy balance in that account. Now, they will send it to you, but sometimes they need a nudge. And in the past, I've had to sort of chase them a number of times to make sure I've had that money. So, or if you want it sooner rather than later, you get on the phone to them and say, right, I finished them. When are you going to send me that? And we could be talking hundreds of pounds built up there right now. So make sure you check your bill, check your bank statement to see if they sent it. And if not, make sure it is sent through. My name is Andy Webb. Thank you so much for watching this video. Check out these videos for more ways to make the most of your money.